You're watching a Nighthawk Network presentation.
People, your boy E-Buck in the building. Y'all know what time it is. It is Wednesday. It is time for the Guru Sports Session. We got a lot of sports to talk about, and we're going to bring it to you because next week we is not. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But in the meanwhile, let's get to the show itself. As always, cannot do Guru Sports Session without that dude in the red right there because he the one I call the sports guru. Hugh Lee, what's happening, Hugh?
What's good, man? There's a lot of good stuff that happened, man, over this last weekend or so, and towards this week. So, yeah, we got a decent amount of stuff that we can actually talk about.
All right, well, we're going to run on through it. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Super Bowl. Glad the Super Bowl is over. Glad this season is over.
Amen.
The football season kind of got dire. The playoffs was really good until the Super Bowl. That really sizzled fast. And when this all happened too, man, I had to go to the doctor 8 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't really mind saying, you know what, let me go ahead and watch it. And then, if whatever I don't watch, I watch it in the condensed version. And the condensed version was the best thing that ever happened to me because they kicked basically 5 field goals. So I give credit where credit is due with the New England Patriots when it came to their defense. But that offense and that O line, that whole left side was just bad, man. And it just wasn't really what I was expecting. I wanted to at least be a little bit of competition, but the field goals was already a snoozer. But then, Sam Darnold did throw a touchdown, but then, Drake May started throwing them picks and one went back for a touchdown. So, yeah, it was really to the point where I seen some bad Super Bowls before, like the San Diego 49ers one, and then, I had to throw that in the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning fans' face. That one with the Legion of Boom. It was some bad Super Bowls that happened. And I think that was actually the worst one of them all, in my opinion.
I would definitely say definitely one of the worst three of all time. Bad Bunny, you did your thing, kudos. But the game itself, I mean, long story short, young quarterback, young offensive line, better defense. It was gonna happen. I mean, we pretty much called it the week before. We both said Seattle was gonna win. I said I wouldn't be surprised if it was a blowout. That's exactly what we got in the end, truth be told. Don't let the score fool you. It was a blowout.
I'm glad Sam got his props too, because nobody believed in him. So I definitely want to put that to the forefront because I feel like they could have beat the Rams 3 times this year, in my opinion. Even when he threw them 4 picks, it was just I feel like if he got enough space to get them into like close to field goal range, because them like 61 and 60 yarders usually not guaranteed. And when I saw that game, that made me say, man, damn, Sam had 4 picks and they still could have had opportunity to win this game. I want to see how the next game go. Then he threw them 2 picks early. I said, oh man. I said, this is not looking good. But the perseverance and seeing him coming back and then them having that ballsy play with Mike McDonald going for 2, I think that took the heart out of the Rams. And then when they played that last time, that was a really good contest and it went down to the end. But I just felt like it came down to the defense and Seattle not turning the ball over to make them Super Bowl champions. Because it ain't
Long
like
story short, Sam, you earned something very few people in this life earn from me in this day and age. My respect. You do have it because you went past what we all expected you could and showed that you could. So congratulations, you're a Super Bowl champion. That being said, Hopefully, your organization will take a lot of that cap money that they have and sign the people they need to sign so that y'all have a fighting chance to do it next year. That being said, I'd be stunned if Seattle go back to back. Very stunned because I'm thinking about all the people that got hurt near the end of the year that changed the whole playoff perspective. Think about it. We ended up with a playoff with no Joe Burrow, barely Josh Allen, no Patrick Mahomes, no Action Jackson. I mean, at the beginning of the season, none of us saw that. None of us.
I'd be surprised if Kansas City even make a run and go back to another Super Bowl in a while, like you said, because we don't know what's going to happen with Andy Reid. I don't know what's going on. Well, if Patrick Mahomes want to come back, it'd be kind of risky. I wouldn't want to do that, but it's a lot of things that's changing over there in that organization too. So there's a lot of things.
Mahomes, I think he'll be back. The question is, do we get back Taylor Swift's future baby daddy? Will he come back? And he looked like he's gonna come back, and it's definitely good that they added Eric Bieniemy back to the squad because that's something that kind of fit and works with them. But
You can see
again,
that.
you got to see what they do in terms of free agency, Chris Jones, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of open questions out there.
Yeah, so and then like you said, man, what happened with Super Bowl champions?
Not to mention, think about their division right now, where you got Denver and LA, who probably will be just as good. LA actually should be better next year. When you consider their offensive coordinator now, and the fact that the two linemen that they lost early in the season will be back on their offensive line, and their running game should be stronger. So, yeah.
Because when you lose a lot of pieces on the Super Bowl, most times, because if you're a Super Bowl champion, them guys want to get paid like Super Bowl champions. So I want to see the free agents in Seattle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of things change when you're a Super Bowl champion, man. You know.
I mean, it's like I say, even if you don't believe it as a player, I promise you, your agent believe that, and he definitely gonna market it just like that.
Absolutely. But yeah, man, like we said, congratulations to Seattle. I'm definitely happy for my man, Sam Darnold. It was definitely deserved. And on that note, like I said, man, it's time to get off into some of the other sports now. Starting off
wait, man, we ain't gonna preview the UFL season now. That's the next football coming up.
You playing games, man.
Yes, I am.
I forgot all about them, man. But no, I ain't trying to discuss them.
And
man.
that's just how much work y'all got to do, UFL. You can't even convince a diehard football fan to watch the product. Good luck.
We seen flashes at one point, E. Some of the things that even on the NFL integrated into their game, but it's just not the same, man.
Like I said, hopefully they plan to go to more cities where football is not readily available, helps them in their endeavor. All that being said, yeah.
I wanted to get into some of the college NCAA basketball with the men.
Been some good ones lately, y'all.
Man. Number 10 Michigan State upset number 5 Illinois, man. That was a really good game, man. I still feel like with that game, I was a little disappointed because I thought Illinois was going to do the thing because they've been playing really good. But like I said, man, it's been weird. This Peja Stojakovic's son has kind of been MIA. We know he's banged up. But if it wasn't for my man Keaton Wagler, man, they wouldn't even really be doing much, you know. So
I kind of look at it, part of it, yeah, he's banged up. The other part is that he kind of taking a step back. Because that young man, he's stepping up to the leader front. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's something that I actually think Michigan State need because their current leader, Jeremy Fears Jr., he kind of setting a bad example out there, man.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of, man, when that kick to the groin, man, kind of figured he was going to get a
one,
man, because he done a lot of like low down stuff in that game, man, and a lot of complaints happened because of that. But I feel like he should have got a longer suspension than what he had, man.
He on very thin ice with Coach Izzo right now. Trust and believe, because you know this Michigan State, we want you, but we don't need you.
Pretty much. And he said the bad example, like you said, if a leader has that type of leadership, man, you don't want to even be affiliated with him. So
right. If he was not the best player on that squad right now, he'd probably be riding the oak.
I agree.
If this was the earlier days of Izzo, he'd probably be riding the oak.
Man, we had another good one, man. You already know that battle, between North Carolina and Duke.
I'm so glad we're gonna talk about that one. Go on, state your case, bro.
No, I was happy, man. You know, I'm a Tar Heel fan all the way through, man. Number 14, North Carolina defeated Duke, man, off of the Trimble late 3-pointer with zero point 0.4 seconds left. I thought it was going to overtime for sure. I looked and I said, okay, man, it looked like they ain't going to be able to get a shot off. But when he made that shot, he was wide open too, so he had to make that shot. Him making that shot, man, stunned Duke. And then I was definitely not really too surprised because they always play good, but was kind of surprised though because the run that Duke was on. But yeah, man, that definitely humbled them a little bit after that loss, man. But that was a really good matchup, though. It could have went either way.
This is the game that college sports need, not just college basketball, college sports. Understand, as a person who is a college graduate, I can definitely relate to being a North Carolina student going into that atmosphere with your bitter, hated rivalry on TV. One, I really wish that game was on national TV. Really, really. I mean,
Yeah.
ESPN is good on, but no, we need those type of games on CBS, ABC, and because of the atmosphere of it in and of itself. Understand the front row seats to that boy, ridiculous prices, man. We talking $800-900 a pop. But fortunately, most of the tickets in that go to the students and the graduates, and they come with an energy that you just don't get in no professional basketball game. At least not one here in the United States. So when you have a game like that against a team that you know they don't like, and you know you got about 200 Duke fans there, but everybody else in North Carolina, and then y'all mess around and y'all get into a heated battle. Damn good game. Biggs
To
played well. The guards played well. It was good defense. It was good shooting. It gave you a little bit of everything. And in the end, y'all went at the buzzer and stormed the field. That part was just awesome to see. What wasn't good to see, though, is what happened when they stormed the field. The thing where they got to messing with the assistants and hitting people and whatnot, we don't need that. That's something I did not like that went on there. Understand, I went to a mid major and we had our rivalries where, sometimes we won and stormed the court and whatnot. It wasn't never nothing like that. We wasn't no, okay, let's go beat up the players or nothing like that. That wasn't it. We was just celebrating the moment. Then we go to the dorms and have a good old party. That's how it was supposed to be. Not
yeah.
that. That we don't need to see.
Elijah Martinez, man, scored 11 of his 24 points, man, in the final 4 minutes of the game, including the game winner, man, with 7 seconds left to beat Penn State. What was your thoughts on that, man? Because he's been on the tear lately.
The game in and of itself, Penn State suck. Men and women team, unfortunately. But what I was happy about was what that brother has accomplished. Remember, it was not so long ago that young man was in a very bad car accident, and they was wondering if he was ever even going to play again, let alone
Absolutely.
get to playing at this level. It is clear now that he is definitely going to be a lottery type pick at the role he is going, and I'm sure his father Gilbert is proud of him, and his daughter also, who's playing well where she is at. So yeah, I was definitely happy for that young man and the team. But again, the game itself,
Number two, this is in the women's division. UCLA holds off number 8 Michigan, 69-66. That was a really close, good contest. Kiki Wright scored 20 points in that one. And then, Lauren Betts pulled down 16 rebounds. But Olivia Olson held her own as well, man. She had 20 points in that game. Michigan got a scrappy team, but I just still feel like they need a little bit more help as far as the big and at least have somebody else who's a pure shooter who can be more consistent because it's like they'll get behind. Then when they try to catch back up, it'd be too little too late. And we've seen them play catch up in several games like that in big moments.
they got some very good people on that UCLA team. I don't think they utilize their bench as much as they should. That's part of what gets them in. They get to that point where they just get comfortable just getting Kiki the ball or lobbing it in the Betts, either one of the Betts for that matter. The problem they will have is when they face a team like a LSU or South Carolina, or obviously a UConn that's very scrappy and defensive minded, and they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, Lauren, we'll let you get yours, and we'll stop everybody else. So you know what? We're gonna double, triple team up on Lauren. The rest of y'all gonna have to step y'all game up. Meanwhile, y'all gonna have y'all problems because y'all still got to stop us on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in the Big Ten, they got the Michigans and Michigan States. That's gonna get them trouble and things of that nature. I can see UCLA winning. I mean, losing maybe another game or two before it's time to hit the tourney. But in the end, they'll make out good with most of the good teams. It's the elite teams that they're gonna have problems with unless, like you said, they resolve some of those issues.
Wear them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, man. We was gonna have to talk about this, man, because we saw it. We talked about it before. I've seen it in my algorithm several times. Very good article you sent me too, man. And I started following the lady on her podcast. It's just that simple to you guys. If you like something, if you like her content, or if you want us to add or put something else to what we doing, man, please hit us up in them comments, man, and like our links, and please subscribe, man. It's just that simple. We definitely appreciate the ones who already did.
Yeah, if you remember, Hugh, make sure you kind of add that to the comments, that article. I would love for other people to see that as well.
Yeah.
I
Okay, we'll
definitely
do.
like how she talks to sport.
Yes, it really made me to have a female have that perspective too, and to talk about that. And it was a really good article because she talked about both sides too, and I'm about to get into it. Number 19 Tennessee lose to number 3 South Carolina by 43 points. At first that caught me off guard, because you see how close the game was at first, by the half, and then for the game to get blew out of proportion like that. And Kim Caldwell was the one who basically said, and most times you will say as a coach, man, we just had a bad game and we need to do better. And I feel like I didn't prepare them as a coach, and I could have did better, and we will do better from this moment here on. Nah, she was like, I have a team who quit before in the past, and that's what they do. They're good at quitting. When they feel like they don't have their way and they can't do what they need to do, they'll just up and quit. And that's just who they are. That's who we are. How did you feel about her doing that with the team, man? Because that can actually help sometimes, to get them in their morale together. But if you lose that locker room, man, then that's not really good neither, man. You got to have some type of boundaries, and you can say certain things, but just the way you say it and the way you off put it. Because even, my homegirl Dawn Staley said I wouldn't have said that, Then she tried to clean up some of the stuff because we seen some games where we feel like South Carolina went South Carolina, and we don't know the conversations in the locker room, but they always seem like they get back on track like they always do. But a team like Tennessee too, man, and how coveted it is, man. We had, the Pat Summits and people who were there at that school, man. That's one of the better schools when it comes to just college football, basketball, or just the sport in general itself. And for this to be displayed, man, I definitely want to let you take the spotlight, man, because I know you wanted to talk about that.
Okay, you're going to give me a few minutes and let me get some space on the runway here.
It's
a semi-complicated issue. First of all, I know you're thinking, okay, why did she just kind of throw her team under the bus like that in the media? Now, understand that is not nothing new for coaches to do. Kim Mulkey has done it earlier this season, if you remember that. Of course, my coach, Coach Oriema, he's done that on a few occasions this year with his UConn squad. And understand, UConn ain't even lost nothing. They undefeated.
Not
and
one.
He still has been critical of them during media sessions. The problem I had wasn't what she did, it was what she did, was to say your team quit, okay? It's certain things you just don't put out there for public consumption like that. Basically saying her team quit to the extent that she said it was like throwing chum in the water for the Sharks. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, you still got to play a very tough SEC schedule the rest of the season, okay? And people are going to look at it now like when you start to get down and miss a few shots, that's when they're going to get to talking in their ears like, yeah, y'all ready to quit yet? You ready to tap out? Yeah, we punking you. Yeah, we already know. Your coach ain't going to do it. You see what I'm saying? But that's only part of the real problem, Hugh. What we got to understand is if you are not a Tennessee fan, let me explain how Kim Caldwell has been running her team this last couple years. She has a whole different style that most coaches have not adhered to.
I'm familiar with it too.
Here's what happens. Basically, there is no legit starting five for the Tennessee Lady Vols. Okay, what happens is she assesses from game to game who she feels has done the most efficient job in the last game and the last practice and so on. And then based on that, she then puts the starting five together. Now, that being said, there is one person, I believe that's Spearman, who is a starter more times than not. Everybody else, it does vary and fluctuate. That's the first thing. Second thing is when she coaches, she does this thing where she takes out the whole squad and puts in a whole nother five. Okay. So, like, say they get 6 minutes in the game, they take out everybody and replace them with 5 other players, and they rotate like that throughout the game. That, according to her, is to keep everybody fresh and also to keep the other team off guard as to who they should guard and what have you, because you don't know what 5 is coming back for. So it helps from the standpoint of, yeah, everybody gets to play, but sometimes you got to look at it from the standpoint, should everybody be playing? You know, of course, I'm going to use the example that I'm most familiar with, which is UConn. UConn has 10 McDonald's All-Americans on that squad. You know, as well as I do, Hugh, that most of those other kids that don't start for UConn, they are probably starters anywhere else in the country, without doubt. But yet, they don't get to start at UConn, and guess what? They work through it. You don't see the problem that this Tennessee team is having right now, because some of those players are looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, look, I know I'm better than old girl. Old girl playing just as many minutes as I am. If I was playing more, I'd be scoring more. I'd be rebounding more. I'd be doing more. But coach ain't seeing it like that. She going with her method no matter what. Now, on the one hand, yes, she has a winning record these last 2 seasons. They even beat UConn last year with that style of play. So it gave her a little cachet to say, well, see, my plan works. If y'all listen to me, we can get it in. What's happening this year is that, yeah, the teams they play, because you know how SEC do, the bootleg teams, they will play them. They will play them and they will beat them up, okay? But any team that's decent or elite, that style of play has not worked well for them. And it's all come to a head these last 2 games. Understand, when they played UConn, there was points in that first half where they were ahead. Okay, and I'm talking about not by a couple points. They was up on UConn by about 8. UConn, before that game, probably had maybe 20 minutes all season where they were behind at all. Okay, they was behind a good part of that first half of that game. The problem, of course, is that when you keep switching people back and forth, at some point they're like, damn, but we winning. Let us cook, coach. Let us cook. And she didn't do that. She stuck with the plan. And then the plan came back to bite her in the butt because, as you know, UConn, much like a lot of the elite teams, the UCLAs, the South Carolinas, the LSUs, they are better second half teams than first half teams because they have coaches that make quality adjustments. Coach Auriemma did that. So in the second half, you looked up, and now they're losing by 18. She's still going with the plan. Next thing you know, they done lost by damn near 40. Okay. Did we learn from that? No, we did not. We went South Carolina, same game plan. Dawn Staley has won 3 national championships for a reason. She ain't no dummy. You know she saw the tape. You know she studies Coach Auriemma religiously. Remember, they were coaches together on that Olympic squad a few years ago. And she is going to be the Olympic coach. So she is constantly looking at other people's tapes to see who she's going to add to that squad. She saw what UConn did and said, okay, Yep, we're gonna ride y'all on out just like they did. And then when we see y'all start to lose the faith, that's when we're gonna stomp you. And that's exactly what happened. And Dawn understood that. That's why she made the comments she did, because she just saw it as, okay, you got to give me more credit than that. It ain't that your team quit. We just played y'all good, okay? And two, let me teach you something, young lady. You shouldn't put your team under the bus like that. Do you see your style of play? That's when they starting to quit on you. You need to change it up, son.
Yeah,
So here's the thing, like as you pointed out, Tennessee is one of the elite women's college basketball programs in the country, okay? In the end, when you get to programs like that, like a UConn, like a Notre Dame, like a SC, you got two options. Get an attorney and win that bunkie, or you gotta go. Because we ain't just happy with just making it to the tournament. We ain't just happy with getting to the Sweet 16. We want more rings up in here. And right now, based on how she did that press conference, she on borrowed time. If they don't
yeah.
make the final four, Hugh, I think she gone. It's good for some other program because she a damn good coach. You put her at a mid major, or hell, even like in the Big 12 or something like that, she could get them to that next level. They'll buy in. But at a Tennessee, a school like that, nope, that ain't good enough.
She got to do better with controlling those starters, man. And like you said, get the main starters and get the people who come off the bench and have a solid rotation. Because of the way she playing, you can tell that a lot of the people not buying into it. And like you said, if you got a hot hand and then you rotate them all the time, and then they come back in the game, and after like 10 minutes or so, they could get colder. They're not the same. So yeah, I feel
Right.
like you need to mix it up and do a
Don't
little
get me
better.
wrong. Other coaches have attempted this style. DePaul's former coach did that also. The Butler coach did that at some point. But the reason why that tends not to work is because of that reason. You got to let the cream rise to the top and let the ones float to the bottom, man.
I agree. When we talked about colleges and money distributed, man, and basically given to, man, you already know I'm coming with this one right now. The SEC, man, distribute more than $1 billion to each of the 16 universities for 2024-2025 physical year. And the total distribution dropped more than 200 million from the previous year. The current total was 37.4 million to retain a university's participation in the college playoff and bowl games. We know it's not really too many universities and too many people who have that type of money. You got your Ohio States, your Michigans, and you got those big teams who have that because, like we were saying, it's like for the most part, it's not a lot of teams who had that type of money. So, how can these teams compete when they know they don't have that type of money, man? If I mean, because the NILs and stuff are working with these teams, but when you got the NIL and then you just got the other bank as well to distribute and get the people to come to your team, man, do you think that that's more of a advantage for the bigger name schools? Do you think that that definitely, basically, when it comes down to it, benefit them more than it does the other schools who don't have that type of money and
Okay,
cachet?
you got to look at what we're looking at here. First of all, we've always said that SEC was the best football conference in the country. That kind of goes without saying. Even though they haven't won the last three national championships, that's been the Big Ten.
I was just
It's
about to say who
exactly
did.
that. Now, that also being said, think about the schools in the SEC: Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Alabama. All these are state colleges, people, as in state funded, big, big schools, okay? 40, 50, 60,000 students, all right? Think about some of the alumni of these schools, okay? So when you think about the booster clubs that they can boast, take Oklahoma, for example. You know who went to Oklahoma? Jerry Jones, okay? Texas, how many of those Texas oral barons then went to
Oil
Texas or
Tycoons.
Texas A&M or Texas Tech for that matter? Florida, no state income tax, need we say more? I mean, they have a cachet that other conferences that's not the Big Ten cannot have. Now let's look at college football. You watch college football every Saturday, right, Hugh?
Absolutely.
Usually it breaks down into three things, or four. Four is the schools that they show to fill in the gaps, particularly the ones late at night, the Boise States and those schools. Ain't too many people watching that. Okay, let's be honest. Then you got, of course, the mid majors, the in betweens that we get every now and then, the Tulanes and the. Let's throw some of them in the mix. Okay, we watch some of those games sometime because there ain't no other games on. Most people that's watching college football on Saturday are either watching a Big Ten game or an SEC game. Them the ones making the money. That's why when do those games usually come on, Hugh? Either at noon or they the prime time game. Because that's the money,
1, 3,
baby.
and 7. Yep, like between 1, 3, and 7.
So of course, when it's time to get paid, yeah, they're gonna make the bigger chunk for them. Is it fair? Hell no, it ain't fair. But is it the way to go? Right is right, wrong is wrong. But hey, it's all about the money, baby. And
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, they bring the money. Texas, they bring the money. That school in Columbus, Michigan, they bring the money. Even Notre Dame, they bring the money.
And then your boys too, Captain Nike. They started.
Let's not forget about Oregon. They definitely bring the money. USC, UCLA, for that matter. It's the reason why they joined the Big Ten. They ain't stupid.
Yeah, they knew what was up.
And
All
again,
right.
we're just talking football. That ain't even counting the bread they're gonna share from the basketball and the baseball and whatnot.
Yeah. And the gymnasts, there's a lot that goes
Right.
into
But
that.
they starting to put more sports on TV, true enough, even the volleyball.
All right. And then the crazy part about it too, we got so many of these basketball players, NBA star players who gonna have their kids who's playing volleyball in the future too. So
And
that's
that's
gonna
funny how that worked out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But it
because
makes sense because, a lot of these kids, they dad is 6'9", 6'10", they mama 6'3", 6'4". Volleyball, they pretty much loans itself to that. It makes sense.
and it's funny too how I looked up and seen Seth's daughter, LeBron daughter, Kevin Garnett, all their daughters are
Right.
playing
I mean,
volleyball.
some of the NFL players, Swag's daughter, and
Yeah.
it's a few of them in there.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of kids in volleyball soon, man. For the volleyball fans, they're gonna see a lot of that coming into town soon.
Absolutely.
I want to know how you felt about VCU, man, firing the winningest women's head coach, man. Beth Boyle, man. How did you feel about that? I feel like it was time though.
That was kind of an under the radar story, but yeah, she had been there for quite some time. Sometimes, I mean, it's kind of like how we looked at the whole situation with Baltimore's coach
Yes.
over there. She had been there, she won, but she didn't win the big ones. And in
Hmm.
the end, at some point, you got to look at it like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we trying to improve what we got going? Or are we just good with being mid level? At that point, there's like, you know what? You had your time, you did your thing. Let's give somebody else a shot at it.
Yeah. I definitely looked at it like that too. I said, yeah, she did her time, man. I think it got to the point where everybody got too comfortable. And then they said, man, you know what? It's time for us to shake up things and move on. And that's just basically what it was. I don't think it's really too much
Right.
else.
It kind of reminds me of a situation years ago with one C. Vivian Stringer. You recall that name, Hugh?
Yes.
Of course, she is one of the winningest coaches in the history of women's college basketball. And since it is Black History Month, quick Black History lesson. To this day, there's only been one HBCU on the women's side to make it to a Final Four.
Mm.
That is Cheney State. You know who was the coach of Cheney State? C. Vivian Stringer. So yeah, then of course she went on to coach many, many years at Rutgers. Unfortunately, she probably best remembered for that fateful incident on the radio where her team got called a bunch of nappy-headed hoes. Y'all
Hmm.
remember that? Yeah, I hated that. But yeah, that's probably where you remember her from that. But Beyond that, if you're a true history buff, you remember her as being the only coach to lead a HBCU on the women's side to a national championship game. They, of course, lost that game to what team, Hugh?
Was it UConn, if I'm not recalling?
We're talking early 80s.
Early 80s. I'm trying to see now.
Shame on you, Hugh. You know I'm talking about Louisiana Tech. And who was on that squad, Hugh? I know you know the answer to that.
The forehead, Kim Mulkey, Miss Angry Pants.
Absolutely. So yeah, just a little history lesson for y'all.
I have a question too, man. Or this one thing that I seen too. But I know you already know the answer to that because we just talked about how inconsistent that Oklahoma team was. But to see them get steamrolled like that, though, man, you know I know Michaela Blakes did really good that game. She had 34 points in that one and 6 assists, but Oklahoma is like that. At one point they was on cloud nine, and then now they back in the doghouse again, man. I just can't explain their inconsistency because 1 minute, like we were saying, they beat South Carolina, man, and it was an upset to all, and then you lose 102 to 86, and then I've just got more questions than I do answers at this point with that team, man. Like, where do they stand?
When they play team basketball in Oklahoma, it is with them going to the post, and when the post ain't jumping, passing out the post to the shooters. When they are not playing team basketball, it's the kid Chavez basically chucking up whatever shot she can get going, and then everybody else getting in where they fit in. That's where they come and play. Usually when they lose like that, Chavez and shot about 30 times and made about 8. Her game is Kobe Bryant like that when it comes to that. Because, you know, Kobe would shoot and keep shooting and keep shooting. Unfortunately, her defense is nowhere near like a Kobe. So that's where they come up short. I think that is allowed by Oklahoma because in the end, they want to keep her around. Remember, in this day and age of NIL, you got to kind of keep your stars happy, you know, so that they still want to stick around. Because obviously, if they don't, they hit that portal, and here you go digging. And you know that kid's from Texas, so you know if somebody in her agent's ear, because you know nowadays all these kids got agents. Like, you sure you don't want to come back home? You know, after Madison graduate, they're gonna need somebody. You know what I'm saying? I could see it playing out that way.
I was really surprised she didn't go and stay home.
I'm very surprised that Texas let her out the state because remember she had several options: Texas, A&M, Tech.
So yeah,
PCU. I mean, come on, SMU.
Okay, man. I want to get into
Baylor.
Of course, you know this much too, man. That I'm about to move it now from the college to the actual NBA level now, man. The fight, man. You know, people call it the Malice at the Palace Part 2, but the fight between Charlotte and the Pistons, man. We knew that we was gonna get some crazy suspensions in that game, but do you think with these suspensions too that they was trying to lead by example and say, hey, we're not gonna tolerate this, like things happen and it got out of hand?
Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna answer that question and a few others here on the show known as the Google Sports Session. But first, let's get some commercials in. Commercials from Nighthawk Network. Nighthawk Network, our voices, our people. Be back with the rest of the show after that.
Hold up.
If you're building your dream from scratch, mic in one hand, hustle in the other, this one's for you. Road to Stardom Network and Nighthawk Network present a podcast for the indie by the indie, all genres, all grinds. From hip-hop to metal, jazz to trap, we're breaking boundaries. And it's not just artists. Entrepreneurs, creatives, and self-made bosses, we see you. We're giving you the spotlight. This ain't mainstream, this is your stream. Coming soon. Be ready.
Two new radio stations hit the net, Road to Stardom Radio and eBuck Beats Radio. Check us out on rdoai.com/RTSR or eBuck88 to hear great music created by us. You won't be disappointed.
Game on, watch me rise from the dirt to the clouds to the star-filled skies. Game on, I play to win, this is my house now, let the games begin. Game on, watch me rise from the dirt to the clouds to the star-filled skies. Game on, I play to win, this is my house now, let the games begin. They threw bricks, but I built me a palace. Sharp in my mind, turned pain into malice. I'm a wolf in the jungle, a lion in the night. Eyes like lasers, locked on the fight. I'm the echo that shakes through the hall. Every time I fall, I grow 10 feet tall. No chains, no walls can keep me bound. I'm the thunder that roars when no one's around.
Tune in to Straight Sports Talk with Coach Vincent, Fridays at 8 p.m., sponsored by the Nighthawk Network Detroit. Nighthawk Network, our voices for our people.
Victories are firing, I'm the flame. Game on, watch me rise from the dirt to the clouds to the star-filled skies.
Prior years before, because the fight wasn't as egregious when it came to Atlanta. You know, when they had their fight, it was just grabbing of the jerseys and people wouldn't let go the jerseys on that end. But yeah, that fight, man, it was punches being thrown on that, man, and connecting. So yeah, what was your thoughts on those suspensions, man, with the Pistons and the Hornets?
All right, first of all, those who are comparing it to Malice at the Palace, y'all so highly disrespectful. Wasn't no fight in NBA history like that one. Never will be again. If that happens, they not only shutting the game down, then everybody gets fined, suspended. It'll never get to that point again. I don't ever see that happen. First of all. Second of all, yeah, it was some confusion and whatnot. It was definitely the fight of the year in the NBA thus far, but remember, we in our 40s and 50s around here, okay? We done seen some real NBA fights. That's pillow fight compared to what we done seen. And remember, in some of them fights that we done seen in our younger days, what happened in that game wasn't even a fifth of what we saw. And in them fights, not only did nobody get suspended, thrown out the game, and in a few of them cases, it wasn't even no fouls called.
Yep.
They just kept on playing.
Because remember when Xavier McDaniels choked that dude, man, it was just a foul. It wasn't even a flagrant foul. They just was like, it was a foul. He choked the man on the court.
I mean, think about how many games Lambeer would have been suspended for in this day and age of NBA.
For Barkley, when he gave Barkley the business.
He basically would have had a couple years where he probably wouldn't have played at all.
Yeah.
For real. But that being said, okay, let's look at the suspensions, all right? First of all, Beef Stew, my dude from my team, the Pistons, all right? He got 7 games. A lot of people say he got 10, 12, what have you. Yeah, on the one hand, you know who hands out the suspensions in the NBA. Of course, that is Joe Dumars, former Piston. And, of course, anytime the Pistons is involved now, they're going to be looking like, yeah, Joe, I know that's one of the Pistons, but you better do your job, dog. You better do your job. So he did his job. He broke him off a little something, but in the same token, he still looked out for him at the same time. Because, yeah, he could have gave him a nice little Draymond type setup since he is a multi offender and broke him off a hot 15. But no, he looked out because in the end, he been a Piston. He know how that go. But also, he looked at it from the standpoint of, look, he just trying to be a good teammate. I really hope that somebody on that squad that got the real money, like the Cades and the whatnot, be like, look, bro, don't even worry about that fine. We got you, bro. Hey, I really want the owner to be like, yeah, you still gonna get your money. Because in this day and age of NBA, you know it's backdoor stuff that go on.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't be surprised if Stu got a commercial all of a sudden. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Anyway, he got 7 games. I thought that was fair. All right. The 2 kids from the Hornets, they got 4 games. I didn't think that was fair. Bottom line is the one, which was, of course, the former Michigan State Sparty that threw an actual punch. Yeah, he was supposed to get a hot 5. If you're trying to set an example that you do not want this to go on in the game, we're not having this bad boys type stuff no more, then anytime that go on from now on, that should be a hot 5 with the closed fist, okay? Closed fist contact, that should be instant 5 from now on. As far as Diabate, who started the whole thing with getting up in folks' face or whatnot, I felt like he should have got a hot 5 as well for starting the whole shenanigans.
Pretty much.
Now, of course, Dorn, he got 2. I felt that was more than fair. Because in the end, he was just defending himself, okay? He had to get 2 because, again, you can't just go around hitting. You know, he mushed him in the face. If he would have just pushed him as opposed to mushing him in the face, that probably just would have got him off for the night.
Yeah, you can't be out here punching people.
That's why you got to give him the extra 1. But yeah, all in all, you know, as much as we appreciate our Pistons having kind of that bad boy feel to them, we know we can't go back to that in this day and age of the soft NBA. They ain't gonna have it, okay? Because in the end, a lot of people was like, man, it's not fair the Pistons get to beat up on people and whatnot. They bullies, none. Because, you know, as much as we love the bad boys here in Detroit, you know, the NBA as a whole, not so much.
Didn't definitely like that.
Yeah, they can't allow that to transpire. So, in the end, they dealt with it properly. Joe Dumars, you did what you had to do, sir.
Especially in this European league that they call the NBA nowadays.
This butter soft, yeah.
All right, E-Man. Nikola Jokic moved to number 2 all time and leader in the triple-double department, man, passing Oscar Robertson, man. Do you think that eventually, pretty soon, that he will be dethroning your man's Russell Westbrook? I think it's coming sooner than you know.
I don't know, Hugh. I say this because as crazy as it all is, Jokic just being such a dominant player when he chooses to, he don't really look like he want it like that. It would not surprise me if he came on TV and like, this is my last year. It wouldn't surprise me not one bit. He can play basketball. He is a good basketball. He don't seem to have the love for it like that. He one of the first people that when the season over, he up out of here.
Yeah.
I don't hear nothing about him doing nothing or saying nothing that whole off season. He could care less. He back home in his home country, hanging out with his bros and whatnot.
Fishing.
Whatever they be doing, that's a whole other story. But you know, he don't have a love for the game like that. So because of that, that's why I think he breaks the record ultimately. It's not that he don't have the talent to do it. I just don't think he gonna play for maybe much longer than another 2-3 years.
How do you feel about Anthony Davis being out, man, for the rest of the season, man? And I'm already hearing, and I know you heard the rumblings that he hates where he's landed right now with the Washington Wizards. And I think this was more or less something like a cop out, man, because I didn't think that he was banged up as they thought he was, because they were saying he had like a groin injury and he had certain other injuries that he sustained too. But if that was the case, why did you guys give the green light to let him go to Washington if you knew you was getting an injured player? You know, that's what I don't understand about Dallas and Washington and these organizations to allow that to happen. Knowing this dude is injured and he's not at 100%, but you're going to get an injured player and put him on your team and then be like, oh, okay, yeah, he's more hurt than what we expected. Let's go ahead and just let him sit out the rest of the year. What is your thoughts of that one right there?
Come on, Hugh. I know you see what's really going on, don't you?
Yeah.
Understand. We have this thing that got brought in the NBA vernacular about a decade ago. We call it tanking, where you take a team that's just subpar, knowing they're not about to make nobody's playoff or do anything when they get there, and you say, you know what? We're going to shut it down. Now, we can't completely shut it down because these damn people that paid their money for season tickets and whatnot, and we can't just straight up home like that, but we got to get them to buy into what we doing. So, yeah, we'll have these people play or sit on the bench or whatnot and act like they're going to play. But in the end, what we're really trying to do is finish out this season with a badass record, okay? Understand the Wizards have sucked now for decades. Remember, we had the Clippers on the West and the Wizards on the East. They've been suck for a while. Even when the Sixers was going through the process, hell, the Wizards sucked even then. The Wizards ain't been good since the Chris Webber, them days, okay? The George Muresan of the world. But what I think is going on is they got him, and they had no intentions of him playing a day with the Wizards, okay? And hell, wouldn't be surprised if Trae Young don't play for them no more either. The thought process is we looking at college basketball. We see a lot of good players in college basketball this year, Hugh. Not great players, mind you, but a lot of good ones. A lot of people with a lot of ceiling, okay? At this point, the Wizards are saying, let's just stock these picks. Let's grab these folks. In the offseason, let's trade them, get more picks, and let's just start completely the hell over. Get a young core. You know what we gonna do? We gonna do what OKC did. We gonna start it all over, get all these extra draft picks, grab a couple youngsters here and there, and build up the franchise. They doing that on their side, and guess who else doing that? Utah. They hit super tank mode too. They say marketing been sitting out, not healthy and whatnot. Ain't nothing wrong with damn marketing. That it even was to a point yesterday where they initially listed him in the scout report as hurt. Then they listed him as rest. Then a couple hours before game time, they put him back into the lineup. It was said that maybe that's because the league was like, look, y'all quit bullshitting. We see what y'all doing. And don't let us have to go investigate marketing and see if he healthy for real. So then they let him play. Now, keep in mind, tonight they played Sacramento, another team that seemed to be in super suck mode. This is the new NBA right now. The teams that's good, they're going to work on continuing to be good. The teams that's bad, they saying, we ain't about to pay all this extra money out. We're going to go ahead and sell off our good players, keep these suckies, let their contracts run out, and then start over fresh and try to build us an OKC. That's what's going on here. So I don't even think it matters what Antonio Davis do, what he like. It don't matter. He ain't going to be there.
No, and I think that's how people look at it too. They look at it like the OKC experience. That's what they call it.
Meanwhile, for people like Antonio Davis, they looking at a team like the Knicks, like the Pistons, like the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Teams that's like right there, but ain't gonna quite make it this year. Them the teams that he trying to be on next year. So they gonna get that one. I mean, because if the Pistons don't get it done this year, it's probably gonna be because of that one big top-notch scorer that they don't have outside of Cade. Anthony Davis, if you can get him to play 50 of them 82 games, particularly the ones that count the most in the playoffs, there you go.
Yeah, because I believe they definitely gonna get some draft capital.
And it ain't like Antonio Davis ain't made his money already, so he should be more than willing to take a couple pay cuts to get on a championship type squad.
Yeah, him and Trae Young at this point in their career.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like as far as what you said with the Utah Jazz, man, yeah, you could tell because I was like, man, I ain't seen marketing play in a minute. So yeah, I was questioning that myself, and they got all these people that's over there like, why would y'all get Jaren Jackson Jr. and think that you're gonna build around him? Nah, man, they about to get that and put that into draft capital, man, and they get them some stock and then rebuild. But just like you said, man, OKC just basically showed you because for so many years they were so bad. And they stopped all those picks, got that team together, and now they still have first round picks and all types of stuff that they can do right now.
They got more than what they need to do with. So even if they don't win that shit, they got all that stuff to work with. Maybe smurf around and use that to get Giannis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got enough to stay relevant. So yeah,
absolutely.
At that point, man, I was thinking about too, man. How did you feel, E, when they were saying that this year, when it came to the rookies, was probably one of the best when it came to the NCAA and the men's? Like, them saying that was just as good as the Fab Five winning the 81 draft. And, what are your thoughts on this one? Because like you said, we didn't even see anybody coming out of this one who was going to really make a lot of noise, like your boy AJ Devanza, Mr. 36 points a couple of nights ago. Man, I don't think he'll make that impact in the NBA. I don't think none of them will even make a Cooper Flag impact. That's my opinion.
I don't know if I'll go that far.
I'm going that far.
I like Cooper to be a pretty decent player in the league. I think Devanza definitely will be a pretty good player. Cooper Flag, but no, I say it's at least a good 3 or 4 of them that could be impactful. But again, the Fab 5 year, and remember, we talking the Fab 5, but also remember that's the year that they lost to Duke, and that Duke team had some damn good players that came out too. So I don't know about all that there.
Yeah, I kind of figured, and I know Jalen talked about it too, Jalen Rose and whoever, and Jamal
If
Murray.
anybody should talk about it, it'd be them two.
Yeah, so they was feeling some kind of way about that, And then we know how good Jamal was when he was healthy. Shit, if Jamal was healthy to this day, I always had nightmares about it. I said if Jamal was healthy, or if Jamal didn't fall out that game, shit, we wouldn't even probably been where we was at playing for the championship game. That was just my opinion.
Remember, they said it all along. They had won that first championship game. They all planned on coming out at the same time. One and done.
I have another question, man, too. As far as when it came to this free agency or the trade deadline, I'm sorry about that. In this trade deadline, who you think will benefit the most from it? Because one of the teams I've seen, and it's not like no really super big flashy moves that I felt like, but you didn't really need that. I feel like Jose Alvarado was a good pickup because him and Josh Hart is kind of like hybrids and they'll feed off each other. And even though James Harden an old man, but he's making an impact on that Cavs team. And some of them players or some of them teams needed those type of players to plug and play to even try to compete in the East right now. But who do you think had the best when it came to the trade deadline deals right now?
You're not gonna like my answer to this. My answer is the Chicago Bulls. Let me explain. We saw what the Bulls did during the trade deadline. They said, okay, we got these folks, and we in this East, and we still ain't doing nothing. Boom! Blow it all up. Grab whatever the hell we can grab for whoever the hell is worth anything. So right now, yeah, they got bits and pieces of a team over there in Chicago. So you saying, E, what you talking about? They still ain't got no squad. Hugh, that's the point. They want it like this. Again, this is a whole nother level of tanking that they own, okay? They thought process is, yeah, we in one of the biggest markets in the country. We ain't bringing nothing good to the table. We still gonna make money because this Chicago. People like to have stuff to do. Bulls suck. We know that, right? Have you watched Chicago play this year? Don't look at the team. Look at the audience. Ain't that boy still Field to the Raptors?
But I do like some of their players, though, man. Like Montes Bazulias, Colin Sexton's been over
they
there.
Suck and you know it. Look at the crowd, though. They there. They paying their money. Chicago Bulls still making a profit. So right now they thinking, yeah, we'll make it better later. But right now, let's get all these extra things off the books so we can make a little bit more profit. We'll fix the team later. I don't even think they press to fix it next year.
You silly.
I think they'll just keep adding little bits and pieces until they can work it out.
Yeah, because they blew that squad up too, man. Like crazy, the trade deadline. Every time you turn around, it was them making deals.
Because in the East, they ain't about to be no much better than anybody else no time soon unless they mess around and be like, you know what? Here's all the money we done saved. Can we have Giannis, please? And here's all our picks. Take them. F them picks. You can have 2028, 2029, 2030, 31, 32. F them picks. Just give us Giannis. Because in the end, yeah, Giannis, you come to Chicago. It's Chicago. You love it here. Is we gonna win? Don't worry about that. We're gonna pay you good. We're gonna pay you $65 million. Why? Because in the end, they'll recoup that because people still gonna come just to see Giannis play. That makes them money. Giannis makes money. They still don't win a damn thing, but everybody's happy. My answer: Chicago Bulls.
So you think he gonna do the Myles Garrett move if they throw the money out there to him?
Giannis, it's a 50-50. I don't have no great read on him.
How did you feel about Golden State and the Kristaps Porzingis move?
Well, Golden State got to realize at this point it's almost about that time, y'all.
It's that time. It ain't almost. It is that time.
It's getting late, literally and figuratively. Our team is old as shit.
It's time for them to just blow that mug up.
It's time to go ahead and finish out these contracts and let all these future Hall of Famers ride off into the sunset and figure out what the new Golden State look like.
Anything else you want to add and plug in on there, man?
We done here? We're done? We're done? Mm-hmm. We ain't even do no commercials. Okay, well, I got a few things we got to talk about. I can't let us go out like that. First of all, today spring training has started.
Yeah, buddy. People probably ain't interested in that, but we're excited about that.
I don't give a damn, y'all. We doing this one for us. I love my baseball, okay?
Yeah, you know that.
As a Detroit Tiger fan, I am looking forward to this season. Y'all know why. First of all, we done made some good signings these last few days.
Well, our pitching staff, man, dude. I'm telling you right now, man. You probably think I'm tripping, man, but once I get a chance, I'm getting this new MLB The Show because I got to get that pitching staff, man. It's just a lot to deal with, man. You got Framber Valdez, you got Justin Verlander back, and you got Turk Skubal. I'm trying to see what's up with Joe
and All-Star Casey Mize. And if we get anything out of Flaherty, that's a bonus.
Anything. And then, man, I'm just hoping, man, that they do good with them bats too, man, because we need it. But with that pitching staff,
there's
a lot of L's.
Now look, man, we got 5 quality starters. Remember, we got the Milton kid that'll probably start in AAA, but he done showed us signs that he might be that guy. And then, of course, Jackson Jobe, still recovering from his Tommy John, is scheduled to be back somewhere around June or so. So, at some point, Verlander will probably miss a few starts, or Flaherty or whatnot. It'd be nice to just plug him on in, or Montero that usually does a pretty decent job in spots.
Yeah.
And then remember, our bullpen with Jansen and Finnegan and yeah, buddy.
Really stepped up what they did. It was some sneaky deals too, because I was pissed that first one. I was like, man, why are we not trying to, sign my man Turk Skubal for a long deal? But you said, Hugh, I don't think they done yet, man. It's still something up because when you seen the Framer deal, you said, okay, we got Framer and we still got Turk Skubal. You was like, Hugh, man, there's still one move to be made. And we remember my man Justin Verlander teetered when coming home the last 2 years. And we just came up short because they'll get us by a little like $1 million or $2 million here or there. But at this point, he said, nah, man, I was glad that he stepped up to the plate and said, man, I have unfinished business in Detroit. That was one of the things that made him come back. And I said, finally.
Trust me, he will always have love down there in Houston because he won them a couple championships. They'll give him some nice ovations to San Fran. He'll never had a love like he got in the D. Okay, it's been years now since he wasn't here. People still wear their Verlander jerseys down there. He will always be my Tiger. So I was ecstatic when I found out that he was coming back.
Very good news, man. That really came.
And remember, he right now is the current leader in wins in baseball. He is the probably last possible person that could win 300 games. When you consider how pitching goes nowadays and whatnot, he may be the last 300-game winner when all is said and done. He only 36 games away from 300, I think it is. He could realistically get that in maybe 3 years if he can pitch to 45. I can see it.
Definitely happy to see that, man. It was a lot of good things, chiming right now
Right,
because
but again, we'll do our baseball preview, obviously, but yeah, definitely looking forward to our baseball though. Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay, there's
absolutely.
that. Um, yeah, since we like to talk about other stuff, we ain't just gonna talk about the major sports. Let me throw in a couple quickies for you. First of
Mhm.
all, the Olympics, man. How's it going for you?
I ain't really been watching too much of it, man. But when I heard the news and when I saw that whole situation with Lindsey Vonn, man, that kind of hurt me, man. But then I know Chloe Kim been holding it down too. I know that the hockey team hasn't been doing so bad neither. So yeah, I've been definitely chiming in and seeing a few
Particularly the
things.
women's team, they
Yeah,
dominate.
yes, absolutely. Because
But
I seen that
no,
when I got up early in the morning, and because I was surprised on one day I got up early because I started trying to get up early, from when I had my last doctor appointment on Monday. And yeah, I ended up checking out actually one of the games, man, on the USA Network, which I had no idea that was on there.
right, and see that's the thing, because I have my sleeping issues. It kind of worked out for me because I wake up in the middle of the night now, and usually they showing the highlights of what on during the day. So that's how I've been catching some of the Olympic stuff, and it ain't been too bad. Obviously, Winter Olympics ain't really our jam like Summer Olympics is. The United States, we doing all right. We ain't dominating. But then I thought about two things. One, we ain't had no real Olympics in a long time, Hugh.
No, not at all.
No, I say that because remember, usually either we then boycotted the Olympics like we did in Montreal in 80, or the Russians then boycotted the Olympics or ain't been allowed in the Olympics because of doping scandals, wars, all that stuff. I don't even think the Russians are in this Olympics, if I remember correctly.
If I'm not
And
mistaken.
because of that, it's kind of tainted. Because some of the best athletes in the world are the Russians. I mean, like it or not. But that being said, looking at some of the technical stuff that is doable now with the skiing and the skating and all that, it's like, damn, they skiing at like 80 miles per hour. That's crazy. That's like basically being on a motorcycle without
On
no
those
wheels. You know what I'm saying?
slopes.
But no, quickly, the Lindsey Vonn thing,
She just
I
needs to
think she was
retire.
selfish, bruh.
There. I
That's my
want your
honest opinion. Lindsay, you selfish because here you are, 41 years old. You done won your gold medals, okay? You ain't had to prove a damn thing to nobody except yourself. That's why on a beat up ACL, you go out there and ski and mess yourself up worse to the point where you done broke your leg, okay? Understand, your legacy is cemented. We is gonna
right.
remember that this is the last time you went there, and that's what you did. But in the end, you didn't have to do all that. That
Yeah.
spot should have went to somebody else to be in the Olympics. Now, the ironic part is the person whose spot you almost took still made the Olympic squad, and she was the one who ended up winning the medal. But yeah, I really wish she hadn't have done that.
Yeah, just thought that was crazy, man. Like you said, I was really surprised when they said her name and she was even participating, man. I said, man, why would you even, go to the Olympics at this point when you ain't have nothing to prove, man? I just thought that was a head scratcher in my opinion,
Right.
too. And
Like I said, I mean, it's not like, say, like a Halliburton last year, never won a championship. Yeah, that's why you play on a busted leg. Granted, it cost you, but
she's golden.
you
She's
almost
golden.
was there. It was game 7. You had to play. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You
And
was
she's
winning until you wasn't. In his case, you understand. In her case, it made no sense.
anything else wanted to add on to that?
No, I think I'm pretty good with that. Go ahead and do your thing.
All right. Definitely appreciate you guys showing us love. We've been trying to do more promos and just look out and make sure that y'all can click on our links, like and subscribe, and definitely, hit up our comments. We appreciate that as well. You can catch me on Instagram at Hoovy, WHOOVI, where we put a lot of our promos and put our brand out there. And Sports Guru to Use on Facebook, where I've been doing a lot of breaking news and giving updates on what's going on around sports leagues. And then I'm Hugh.Lee6 on TikTok. I would like to say most definitely. I got a lot of love and appreciate everybody who's been giving us our love and support too, and giving us our flowers, and would like to give a collective shout out to the Nighthawk Network and all the people who chime in, like my homegirl Amanda Hampton, my boy Eric Nicholson, my boy Eric Merriweather, my nephew Deanie, my sister Harriet, man, my Veronica, man, it's just so on and so forth. There's so many people that I can thank, and I'm blessed to, appreciate that you all chime in for us too. But on that note, I would just like to say, keep giving us the support, and the people who who are friends, who are sports fanatics too, man, definitely hook them up and get them our links, and like and subscribe as well. We're trying to get this and build our brand a little bit more, and trying to get our algorithms going so we could try to start getting monetized. We would definitely appreciate that in the future.
Hold on, good people. There we go. Absolutely. And as you see, we have our cash apps on there. So if you are so inclined to bless us that way, we ain't mad at you. But anyway, look, people, one last thing, or actually two last things before we go, Hugh. First of all, we have to say a big happy birthday to one of our people in the Nighthawk Network. Happy birthday, Coach V.
Coach B, yeah, I definitely showed him love, man. I hit him up earlier, man, but definitely once again, happy birthday, brother.
So yeah, definitely that. And then also I want to send out some prayers to one Miss Rakia Jackson. If you know the story, we didn't really talk about it on the show, but domestic violence is something that we cannot just tolerate as people, okay? It should never come to a point in a relationship where you feel like you have to physically hurt somebody that you claim you love, okay? And right now she's dealing with that in her world. She's kind of taking a step back from the Unrivaled League as a result of that.
Heard it right there.
And I definitely hope that she's back here in Detroit, just kind of taking some time to do her and chill, and hopefully she will definitely be back in the Unrivaled season. If not, then definitely back in the WNBA when that season starts, assuming it's going to start. Apparently there's talk that Angel Reese is coming back to Unrivaled.
Yeah, I definitely seen that. She said she was back with the Roses of all teams too, so that's pretty good to hear.
So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we even had a trade in Unrivaled for the first time. So yeah, we've been checking out that, and we'll definitely talk about that next time we come back. Remember, next Wednesday we will not be on. We are taking a hiatus to kind of recharge and refuel and do some things, but we'll be back the following week, and definitely at that point probably talking more college basketball, obviously, getting into some early baseball talk and all that good stuff. So please tune in. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And until next time we see you, remember what we say. Be blessed. Don't stress when all else fails, because sometimes all we have is prayers. Is put your hands to the man and let him take care of the rest.
Amen.
Until next time, y'all, the deuces is up.